everyone. I hope you're doing awesome today. So, big news, obviously. New car, very exciting. Now, if you haven't seen my most recent video, other than this one, obviously, I decided to sell my Z51 C6 Corvette and buy a Grand Sport. And I'm loving it so far. This car is amazing. I'm so happy. But I thought I wanted to talk a little bit about not only what happened to my black car, how I sold it, but also talk a little bit about the differences of when you're buying a new car, what you do with your old one. Should you sell it, trade it in, give it to a dealer, a private party, that kind of matter. So I thought I'd make a video kind of combining those two together. So without further ado, let's get started. So I actually ended up buying my Grand Sport before I sold my other car. Now, I'd already paid the black one off, so that wasn't costing me anything anymore. And I saw this one, like I said before, it was too good of a deal to pass up. I really wanted that wide body, so that's why it's an automatic. Even though but I will say this car has really surprised me. I do like the auto very much. I think it works surprisingly well so far, but we'll see. But that car was just too good to pass up, so I had to buy it. And I was afraid if I sold my car, this car would already be gone at that point. So I actually ended up buying this car before I sold that one. So I had this car already, but it was in California. I had to make a long trip over, so I had my black car to use in the meantime. So that was a little convenient as well that I could do that. Now, what happened to the black car? Well, since I already had my new one, I thought I don't really want to go with the hassle of selling that one. It's a little annoying dealing with buyers, especially on a higher mileage car, and the car had 73,000 miles on it. And even though for an LS motor, that's really not bad. Those things run forever. But it, for people who maybe don't know it or are a little unsure about, uneasy about, the mile might seem a little high. So I thought it might be a little tricky to sell. So what's a better approach? I thought, well, maybe I'll go over to CARMAX. Now, of course, CARMAX and YouTube are kind of famous with Doug DeMera and his videos of his Range Rover and bringing his Hummer there and his race. No, CBR went away. Bringing his Hummer there and his GTR and all that. So I thought maybe I'll give them a legitimate shot and see what they might offer me for just a buy. Now, cool with them with CARMAX is they'll actually buy your car without you buying one of theirs. So you don't have to trade in. You can just sell it directly to them, which is kind of neat. And I thought maybe give that a shot and see how it goes. Now, at the time, I looked on Blue Book, and I think the value was around 13, 12, something like that. Now, keep in mind with Blue Book, a lot of people talk about Blue Book values as kind of like a Bible of this is the Blue Book value is this is what the car should for. Not necessarily. Blue Book doesn't keep everything into account. And one thing makes it a little difficult is, especially when you have more special cars, not just the car itself being more unique, but also your particular one is a little different than the norm. And what I mean by that is particularly high mileage cars or maybe low mileage cars either underrate or overrate the value by quite a lot sometimes. And one issue with that is when you look at supply and demand and actual market value, Blue Book isn't always the best at figuring that out. And they're always the best for that, figure that out. So look at 12,000, look at a C6 for 12. And maybe now probably now it's not different. There's none out there, not a single one. So Blue Book value isn't always the best, but it gives you a good estimate. So I knew, okay, I'm maybe getting around that. Now keep in mind with CARMAX and any trade-ins in general, they pay wholesale pricing. If your car is worth 12,000 and you say, well, I want 12,000 for it. Okay, they buy it for 12, and then what are they going to sell it for? The same amount? They don't make money on that. They need to make a profit here. So they can't buy it for what the car is worth. They have to pay wholesale pricing as they're a retailer, and they'll sell it as a retail price. So I knew it wouldn't maybe be that high. On the other hand, like I said, with the value pricing and the market value, it might be different. But I figured this car is probably going to go to an auction with the higher miles that it has. So I thought it probably would go to an auction, so maybe I won't get quite as much as I thought. So a buddy of mine went over there. And it was funny when I arrived there and said, okay, what car do you want to sell? And I said, it's a Corvette. I said, oh, okay, cool. So we're going to go check it out, and he kind of liked the car. And I said, okay, we're going to get an appraiser over. It'll take about half an hour, so you can either hang out here or go look at some cars. And I said, let's go look at some cars. And within 5 minutes or so, we found a beautiful torch red C7 Z06 with a 7-speed. And I think we spent the entire half hour there just in the car. It was so nice. Unfortunately, they wanted, I think, 80K or so for it. So a little high, but it was such a beautiful car. And got back, I got a phone call, hey, all ready with the appraisal. I said, great, I get over there. And they went over a few things of how basically they work. He explained that, you know, they pay wholesale pricing, not retail. And so he was very nice and explained it all. So what was the offer? What was it in the end? Was it closer to the 12 or so that I initially thought? Was it maybe higher, like I said, with the market value, or is it possibly lower because it's going to go to an auction? Well, I was a little unsure when I arrived. And what was my total amount? Well, according to the sheet of paper here, $7 grand. $7 grand for a C6 Corvette. So I obviously said no to that one. A little lower than I anticipated. When I first saw it, I was kind of shocked, like, wow, I knew it would be low, but I didn't think it would be that low. And then he's like, oh, well, it's actually pretty good considering the miles. And I was like, no, are you kidding me? Not even close. But with CARMAX, it's a no haggle thing, so it's not like you send an offer, then you send a counter offer. This is the price. And I'm not one to be offended by an offer. There's no reason to do that. Who cares? It was too low. Okay, they say, no, thank you, have a good day, and then move on with your life. So I said no to that one. And instead, I went on Craigslist, posted there, and sold it for $16K. So I'm a lot happier with that, obviously. Thank you. So, when it comes to buying, selling, trading in, what is your best bet? Well, if you have a C6 Corvette with 170,000 miles, don't give it a CARMAX and sell it privately. Well, it all depends on your personal options. So, one thing a lot of people keep in mind when they talk about trade-ins, let's go over that one first, is a lot of people say, never trade it to the dealership. You get such little money, it makes no sense, don't ever trade in. But that's not always the case. And like I said, it's very specific to your situation. So, put this scenario here. This is your one car. You have one car. You don't have a daily and a race car or whatever. You have no family car, a towed vehicle, whatever. You have your one car. So if you want to get a new one, you can't sell it to a private person because then you have no car. So you basically are forced to trade the car in. So when they say never trade in, well, sometimes people don't have the option. So I was fortunate enough that I was able to buy my new car, take another loan for that one while I'm selling mine. Not everyone can afford to do that. So if you either don't have the funds for it or you only have one car, you're probably going to be forced to trade in, which may not be the greatest option. On the other hand, there are some benefits to trading in. The first one is your taxes, and this is your main benefit here. You get a big reduction in your sales tax. So let's say you buy a car for $10,000 at 6% tax. So you pay $600 in sales tax. So that's a little, not the greatest. Now, if you buy that same car for $10,000, but you trade your car in, hello everyone again, I apologize, the GoPro didn't quite seem to stick, so it fell down. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So if you buy that same car for $10,000, but you trade yours in for $5,000, you're only going to pay half the sales tax because they only pay the difference. So instead of paying 6% tax on a $10,000 car, you only pay on a $5,000. So you save a bit of money in sales tax, which is kind of neat. Another Grand Sport, hello. It was a convertible and didn't have the stripes, but still cool. So there's your sales tax reduction. So there's a nice benefit there. Also, there's no hassle. You don't have to deal with, posting your ad. Some places will charge you depending where you're from. Places like eBay will charge. Other places like Craigslist won't. So I love Craigslist. On the other hand, you also get a lot of random text messages and emails or phone calls from weird services or people not actually interested. So there are some downsides to it. It's a little annoying, and I said that's why I looked into it, was because I didn't want to deal with the hassle so much. But trading in does have some benefits, as I mentioned. Now, your other option, of course, is to sell it to a private party. Now, your advantage is this is where you get the most amount of money. You're going to maximize your profit by selling your car privately because you can sell at the retail price versus the wholesale price I talked about earlier. So if you sell it to a private person, that's your nice benefit, is you get the most amount of money for it. Now, your downside, of course, is the opposite of what I mentioned with trade-in, is your sales tax. You're going to pay the full amount of your sales tax when you actually end up buying the car. So even though you make more money, you pay more in taxes. And depending how high the taxes are in your state or wherever you live, and the increase that you actually get trading in versus selling it wholesale versus selling it to a private person, as a C7, you might actually save money with trading in. Not always, but it's possible, depending on if your car is very expensive, so you're paying a lot of money in taxes, and if the price going from wholesale to retail isn't very big, you might actually save money with trading. So it's not always the worst option. So with selling it to a private person, you have the advantage of making the most money generally, but you also pay more in taxes. You also have to deal with that seller. I said the whole buying, selling process is a little annoying sometimes. Get people over, driving your car, all that. So it's not always the best option, but for a lot of people, they prefer this because this generally gets you the most amount of money. Now, the other option, of course, is selling it to a dealership like CARMAX. Now, there's a couple other dealerships as well that do this similar idea where they just buy your car from you. And it's very similar to trade-in. The only difference, of course, is you don't get a car in return, you get cash. I think in CARMAX's case, they said you would check, but I'm not positive on that one. So, very similar process. They appraise the car, they check it out, and they give you a value. The value will be, again, a wholesale value, not a retail one. So this will be a smaller amount. Basically the same as trading in, only you don't get that benefit of the the reduction in sales tax. But it's also easier than selling to a private person because you don't have to deal with a buyer who's sleazy or something like that, or is trying to scam you out of some kind of deal. It's a dealership, so you're a little better off generally with going that kind of route. For some people, they like that option. Others, again, they'd say, no, that's fine. I'm okay holding on to my car for a while and selling it, so I'm not in a rush to sell. If you're in a rush to sell, that's definitely your best bet to do. Is either trade the car in, or if you have too many cars, you want to get rid of them, just get to the dealerships. They're going to give you the smallest amount, but it's going to be that day. The CARMAX offer is good, I think, for a week or so. So even if, you go there, you have a week to decide, okay, this is not enough, or this is actually fine. Versus, selling to a private person, it may take you a few weeks or even months sometimes. So you have to decide, is that time worth for you to spend trying to sell the car, or you just want to get rid of it, or whatever reason that you may have for it. So that's up to you to decide if, the time constraint there that you have. Now that's just about it. There's different options that you have for it, and what I did with my C6. Now, I'd love to hear your opinions, maybe your stories if you had, maybe try to sell the CARMAX or bring it to a dealership, weird trade-in stories, weird buying stories. It's always funny to hear, so I'd love to hear your comments. Just please leave them down below. As always, I really appreciate you all watching my videos. I thank you so much for all your continued support. Hopefully, lots more to come with this car. I was just at the Miami International Auto Show. That took place last week. I have all the footage. I haven't got to edit it yet, so I need to go do some editing on that, and that will be posted probably next video or so, but hopefully soon. I had a blast like always. Now, I also did a tunnel run. There's a tunnel that goes to the port of Miami, and it's really long, and it's incredibly loud with this car. It sounded amazing. Now, unfortunately, my iPhone decided, because I didn't shoot it with the GoPro died already, so the iPhone decided to have a corrupt file of some sort. So I'm trying to figure out a way to restore that one if I can. If I can't, then that won't be posted, but it's a really great video, so I was hoping that would be posted. Unfortunately, it's some corruption issue, which I'm not sure what's going on. But I'll have to figure that out soon, and hopefully that'll be posted, because it's a really, really cool video. I was very excited to see it. It sounded so good. But like I said, hopefully a lot more videos to come with this car. I'm loving it so far. It's been really, really great. It just looks fantastic. It sounds amazing, as you can definitely hear, I'm sure. As always, thank you so much everyone for your continued support. If you like this video, please hit that like and or favorite button. For more videos of me, please push subscribe. I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheCarVlogger. Now, I haven't posted anything in a while. I believe I said that last time. I really need to get on that. Hopefully I'll post some things upcoming pretty soon. Again, thank you so much. I say thank you too often. I can't end the video. I don't know what it is. I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you.